Jaime Jaquez Jr. has taken the NBA world by storm, but none of his success is accidental after you see what he was doing in high school and who he modeled his game after. But first, let's see if Jaime is even the best player in his household. Number 10. Who is the best Jaquez? Now, you would think if someone makes it all the way to the NBA and then becomes a vital piece of an elite team, that he could proudly claim to be the best player in his own family. However, in Jaime's case, his sister Gabriella might have something to say about that claim. Gabriella is a standout player in her own right. She is averaging 12.7 points per game as a sophomore for UCLA. In fact, Gabriella shared MVP honors at the 2022 McDonald's All-American Girls Game before committing to UCLA. She also has dreams of playing professional hoops like her big bro. In the history of the WNBA, Avina Westbrook was the first Mexican-American to be drafted, and that only happened in 2022. Gabriella has the skill set to make it to the pros as well. In fact, she has already earned a ton of fanfare in college. And of course, her biggest supporter is Haime, who said, quote, "She is growing as her own basketball player, her own star. She is having her shine with me out of the picture in Los Angeles and at UCLA. She is enjoying her time and doing well." So in the near future, there might be another Jaquez making headlines and history. Number 9. He is working on his Spanish. Although Jaime has a rich Mexican heritage, he is still working on his Spanish. He recognizes the potential of connecting with the Spanish-speaking community, and he wants to do his part the best he can. He has said that his mother tried to teach him Spanish when he was younger, but the language wasn't spoken regularly at home, so it didn't stick. He then tried to get the hang of it in high school, where he took Spanish as one of his classes, and then again in college. Now he says he has been learning Spanish thanks to Duolingo. Besides, by simply living in Miami, his Spanish is bound to improve. Jaime also plans to spend time in Mexico next off-season and has been to Mexico City, Guadalajara, Cancun, Baja California, and Monterrey. He has even thought about the idea of representing Mexico in the international scene. He added that he has had conversations about potentially playing for the Mexican men's national basketball team. Number 8. Pre-draft comparison. When rookies come into the league, they are often compared to former NBA players so that new fans get a grasp of what to expect. Typically, you'll get comparisons to players who are still in the league or have recently retired. But that wasn't the case for Jaime. One of his pre-draft comparisons was an old Celtic legend that you would never expect, but it does make sense at the same time. Jaime was compared to Kevin McHale. The main reason behind that comparison was his great footwork. Jaime was lauded for his footwork and how his fakes and pivots could lose any defender. Of course, McHale was also known for his paint mastery. On top of the footwork, Jaime was praised for his pull-up jumper from the mid-range. He shot 40.6% of dribble jumper 2s and 36.5% of dribble jumper 3s in 4 years at UCLA. But one thing that went against him was his three-point shot. Draft experts believed he needed to improve his catch-and-shoot 3, as he only made 31.1% of those in college. Number 7. Historical feat. In just a handful of weeks, Jaime has already etched his name into the history books. Christmas time might be a day of opening gifts and spending time with your family, but in the basketball world, Christmas is associated with some of the most competitive hoops. In this year's Christmas game, the Heat matched up with the Sixers. The Heat were missing their best player, Jimmy Butler, so Jaime stepped up to put on a show. He set a career high with 31 points and grabbed 10 rebounds as the Heat beat the Sixers 119-113. Jaime also went 8 for 8 from the free throw line and had 2 steals. He became one of 5 rookies to ever put up a 30-10 game on Christmas Day. The others include Patrick Ewing, Walt Bellamy, Oscar Robertson, and Wilt Chamberlain. Number 6. Basketball is the family business. Now, we mentioned earlier that Jaime's sister might have him beat when it comes to basketball talent, but in reality, Jaime's entire family can ball. His paternal grandfather, Ezekiel, who came to California with his family from Mexico as a kid, played at Ventura Community College and Northern Arizona University. Jaime's parents, Angela and Jaime Sr., met while playing basketball at Concordia University. So this makes Jaquez a third-generation baller. He grew up alongside his younger brother Marcos and his sister Gabriela. His younger brother became a defensive lineman for Camarillo High's football team, while his sister followed in the family's footsteps into basketball. Number 5, Jaime was a big boy. Jaime has been shocking people from day one. When he was born, the doctors were shocked by his size. At birth, he weighed 10 pounds 3 ounces. By comparison, the other babies looked like little dolls. Right away, his father gave him the nickname Jaimito, which means Little Jaime. Quite ironic, considering that he is the biggest member of the family now. Number 4, broke his school scoring record. Jaime was a stud in high school. As a senior, he averaged 31.7 points, 11.7 rebounds, and 3.7 assists, along with 2.1 steals per game. He helped his team finish 25-4 as they won their first ever Coastal Canyon League title. His efforts earned him first-team All-CIF Southern Section honors and finished his high school career with 2,653 points. 54 of those 2,653 came in a single game, as Jaime broke his school's single-game scoring record against Royal High School. Number 3, two-sport athlete. Jaime might have been born with a basketball in his hands, but he did try his luck in other sports. As we mentioned earlier, his younger brother played football and was quite good at it. So the athletic genes in the Jaquez household are pretty elite. As for Jaime, not only was he setting basketball records in high school, but he was also the pitcher of his school's baseball team. That might explain his incredible pinpoint passes. Judging by the recent baseball contracts, maybe Jaime is regretting not going pro in baseball. However, the newer NBA contracts don't look too shabby either, and Jaime is bound to sign a pretty lucrative deal. Number 2, college injuries. Jaime did not have the smoothest ride in college. Although he got into his dream school, UCLA, his years in college were littered with highs and lows, the lowest of which were some really painful ankle injuries. His 2021-2022 season started rough as he battled with injuries. He suffered from synovitis in one ankle and began wearing braces on both ankles as a preventative measure. Despite the early setbacks, Jaime persevered and was named the Pac-12 Player of the Week after averaging 28.5 points on 64% shooting, along with 7.5 rebounds, as UCLA clinched the number 2 seed in the Pac-12 tournament. Jaime was named to the All-Pac-12 first team and was voted again to the conference's defensive team. He was one of 5 finalists for the Julius Erving Award, given to the top small forward in the country. However, his promising year was cut short due to even more ankle injuries. In the end, he needed surgery in April to remove bone spurs from his right ankle. This also caused him to delay going to the NBA and returning to UCLA for his senior year. But there is a happy ending. Jaime picked up where he left off as he was named a finalist for the Julius Erving Award in 2022-2023. He was named a consensus second-team All-American and received the Lute Olson Award as the College Player of the Year. Jaquez was voted the Pac-12 Player of the Year, becoming the first Bruin to win since Kevin Love in 2008 and the first UCLA senior to capture the award since Ed O'Bannon in 1995. He ended his career ranked 8th in UCLA history in scoring 1,802 and 178 steals and 9th in total games played with 134. If it wasn't for those scary ankle injuries, Jaime would have likely been a lottery pick. The Heat definitely lucked out picking out Jaime so late in the draft. Number 1, his favorite player. Every kid has a superhero they look up to, and for Jaime, that superhero was none other than basketball legend Kobe Bryant. Jaime grew up a little over an hour from the Staples Center, so we watched a ton of Lakers games, and during that era, Kobe was the Lakers. Jaime loved watching the Black Mamba do his thing so much that for years afterward, he studied Kobe's footwork, especially the way he danced in the paint and scored so effortlessly. All that studying has paid off as Jaquez has pulled off many Kobe-esque moves in the paint against some top-tier NBA talent.